I'm joined now by the CEO of Lung Saskatchewan. It is Erin Kwan. Good morning.
Good morning.
Promoting healthy lungs all year round.
You bet.
But this time of year, getting set for back to school. And there is a new campaign. It's called What's in Your Backpack, because we really want to focus on the kids right now.
Absolutely. So, unfortunately, we're already at that time of August where families and households are starting to think about getting ready to go back to school. And so we're going to be embarking on a campaign, What's in Your Backpack, really getting families to think about things like how you're planning your healthy plans to go back to school. So asthma action plan in particular is really our area of focus. So we want kids to be equipped, and parents, but also teachers, daycare providers, and coaches with what to do in case you have an asthma emergency.
Okay, and I know that September, you can almost mark it down and predict when the asthma spike is going to hit, right?
Yes, absolutely. So we know, we see it in September, and then we also see it in January and February. Kids have had a break for several weeks, and then we come back, all these households and daycares and things are converging, and inevitably about that middle of September, usually 16th, 17th, we see is usually the most common day that children are sick. There's emergency room visits due to asthma attacks. In Saskatchewan, of course, we also have harvest season, so we have lots of dust flying in the air. We've been really fortunate this year, of course, with forest fires, thankfully, for the most part, not affecting our air quality, but we can also see that as well, too. So we really want to plan for what are those triggers, where is the medication, and it's about communication. So making sure that the child knows the plan, but also the teacher or the daycare provider or the coach or the instructor. And its medication is in an easy to find place, and there's a protocol for that.
Okay, and another thing that happens at schools, sometimes they come into contact with vaping, which is not good for the lungs.
Not good for the lungs. And you know what? Unfortunately, we're seeing it in kids younger and younger. So we know nationally smoking rates are going down, which is a great thing. But unfortunately, vaping rates among youth are going up exponentially. And unfortunately, vape devices are really creative. They can look like pens, they can look like USB, they can look like hand sanitizers. And so I think it's important as a parent to just have that conversation with your child, even if they're in elementary school. In those younger grades, can be even kids as young as 8 and 10 years old that are exposed to these things. And so talking about what is in a vape, because we have a lot of, there's a lot of myths. Oh, it's just water vapor, these kinds of things. When in fact, there's over 2,000 different chemicals in a vape. So we have to be really careful.
Yeah, and I think you mentioned younger. That's probably the time to really hammer it home.
Absolutely, absolutely. Judgment-free education.
Okay, well, let's talk about the charitable aspect of your business, because you guys need to raise funds, and you've got a big one. Big help every year is the 50-50 wrap.
Yes, yeah, we have so much fun with this campaign. It's called the Saskatchewan 50-50, and that's all it is. Tickets start at $20. Last year, the jackpot went well over $100,000. I think when we just checked before we came on, we're closing in on about $70,000 jackpot. So what a great way to wrap up your summer and go into fall, especially if you're a back-to-school household. Can always help with activities and things.
Wouldn't that be nice?
But yeah, of course, all the funds raised stay right here in Saskatchewan, support our education, advocacy, research efforts here. Easiest way to buy tickets is through saskatchewan.ca or lungsask.ca, or of course call our office.
And what's the deadline for that?
Deadline is, last day to purchase tickets is August 24th.
Okay, that's the one we need.
Coming up right away.
All right, Erin Kwan, CEO of Lung Saskatchewan. Thanks so much for a few minutes.
Thank you.